all know someone who loves horror, whether it's your family, your friends, or even yourself. A survey by YouGov found that 49% of US adult citizens love to watch horror movies. However, horror is one of the most controversial movie genres, and this is because of a phenomenon known as recreational fear. First, I'll be explaining the science behind this phenomenon, then I'll explain the difference between recreational fear and real fear, and finally, I'll explain why recreational fear can actually be good for you. Let's start by exploring why recreational fear happens in the first place. As co-director of the Recreational Fear Lab in Aarhus University in Denmark, Mark Maldorf Anderson explains, recreational fear seems to be something that emerges very early in childhood. It seems to be something that humans, from a very early age, become interested in. Think of peekaboo, which by some has been called the first jump scare that children are exposed to. It's a phenomenon that appears all over the world. This suggests that humans are naturally drawn to experiences that make us feel scared, sometimes even from infancy. Additionally, Cleveland Clinic states that the central amygdala, the part of the brain most associated with fear, contains neurons that produce dopamine, the chemical responsible for pleasure. That means when we're scared in a safe context, our brain can actually reward us with enjoyable feelings. Of course, that raises the question, if fear can make us feel good, why do some people dislike scary movies or haunted houses? The most likely answer is that their brains may not respond in the same way. For some individuals, the release of dopamine might be weaker, or their brain might interpret the fear as a real threat rather than recreational. Without balance or fear of fear and safety, the experience becomes overwhelming instead of thrilling. So instead of enjoyment, they feel discomfort or anxiety. In other words, how we experience fear depends a lot on how our brains are wired to interpret it or to react to it. Now that we understand the science behind recreational fear, how is it different than real fear? I remember going to Six Flags once and standing in line with my friends on one of the most giant, most scary roller coasters. My heart was pounding, my palms were sweaty, and I kept asking myself, why would anyone want to feel this way? But everyone in line was laughing, smiling, and eagerly waiting for the ride. The difference is that they knew they were safe. That's what separates recreational fear from real fear. Control and context. Real fear happens in dangerous situations, like a car swerving toward you or hearing footsteps in a dark alley. Your brain reacts quickly, preparing you to fight, flee, or freeze. But in recreational fear, like haunted houses or roller coasters, you're in a controlled, safe setting. That safety gives you permission to lean into the fear without the actual risk. We scream in haunted houses because we know it's all fake, and that makes it fun. You can run, hide your eyes, or scream your lungs out, but deep down, you know it's temporary and harmless. That's why we often laugh right after a jump scare. You know that it's not real, and our brain rushes us with a sense of relief. The same goes for roller coasters. They simulate falling or crashing, but you're strapped in and protected by engineering and design. It's like watching a thunderstorm from inside a cozy cabin. Dramatic and thrilling, but you feel safe. That mix of fear and safety is what makes recreational fear so powerful. And believe it or not, it might actually be positive. Engaging in a controlled fear can actually have surprising mental and emotional benefits. It can act as kind of a mental workout, helping us build emotional control and stress tolerance, almost like rehearsing fear in a low-stakes way. Some people, known as sensation seekers, even crave intense experiences. For them, horror movies, haunted houses, or scary movies provide a legal, safe outlet for these feelings. There's also a social side to recreational fear. Shared fear often leads to shared laughing and bonding. Think of how we grab our friends during a scary movie or scream together on a ride, and then laugh about it afterward. The emotional roller coaster can create strong, lasting memories. According to psychologists, this kind of fear might actually help with anxiety or low moods. Facing fear in fun ways helps us practice managing scary feelings like emotional cross-training. Early research suggests that spooky experiences can help people deal with real-life stress by making them feel braver, calmer, and more in control. So maybe fear isn't something we always need to avoid. Sometimes it's something we can embrace. In the end, recreational fear shows just how powerful and adaptable the human brain is. We've taken something originally meant to warn us about danger and transformed it into a sense of entertainment and joy, and even personal growth. Of course, real fear still plays an important role. It tells us when we're actually in danger and when to get out. But the next time your heart pounds in a haunted house or you jump at a horror movie, remember, fear isn't always the enemy. Sometimes it's just your brain of saying, this is going to be fun. Thank you.